What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having an awesome week. Today, we're going to be talking about the key to content creation. Okay, this is a fun module for me to teach on. I know that this is something that I am currently focusing on within my own personal brand, my own business, and just from analyzing a lot of the creators that I look up to and get a lot of inspiration from, and people I've been following on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram for a very long time now, and seeing them grow. This is what I have basically figured out is the absolute key to growing a massive personal brand, being able to monetize your personal brand, and just be able to bring in so much new business, whether it's for your agency, for your coaching business, or for other businesses that you plan on starting down the road. So this is what I've nailed down to be the absolute key in all of that. Okay. So we're going to be walking through, obviously, the fundamental process of creating content, why you need to start making content as soon as possible, and how you can build an empire in the next 2 to 3 years if you start today. Okay. So what is the key to content creation? All right. Simply put, storytelling is the absolute key to success with content creation. Now, if you actually look at any of your creators, any of your favorite creators, on whether it's Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, primarily YouTube, you'll notice that all of them know how to tell a good story, right? I've even started doing this myself. I've gone to a lot of these massive YouTube creators I've been following for a long time. And I've noticed a big thing is the start of their videos doesn't start with, hey, what's up, guys? Hope you're doing great. And, like, thanks for watching my YouTube video and, this, and that. They don't do that because their focus is telling a story instead of just coming off, kind of like, not like salesy, but they're coming off like every typical creator on YouTube. And I'm a huge, at huge fault for this, because even if you go through a lot of my old YouTube videos, they always start off like that because, my audience is a little bit smaller. And for me, I'm just kind of posting like tips, guidance, advice, stuff like that, right? Whereas these guys, like, they're telling a story through all of their content. It doesn't matter what they're teaching on. They're always teaching on different topics, but they know how to tell a good story. Okay. So your goal with storytelling is to portray an image with your content, okay? Your content needs to be unique to you as a person. It needs to feel genuine and it needs to be authentic, okay? And it needs to be your story that you're communicating to your audience, all right? There's nothing worse than someone who tries to like steal somebody else's story. It just makes no sense, okay? So how to become a great storyteller? Like I said, be authentic and true to yourself, right? So most people try being someone that they're not, unfortunately, all right? So this usually happens at the start of most people's entrepreneurial journeys because they're still getting over that feeling of imposter syndrome. I felt like this, I tried being, the Eman Gadzis, the Kai Baxes, all those guys, the Graham Steffens, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I tried watching all their content and tried being them, and it doesn't work, right? You feel like you're checking a box when you're getting your content made, but it doesn't work. It comes off disingenuine, and it's not something that you want to carry on long-term. Okay. So most people will actually take this a step further and they'll try to create, crazy stories that aren't even like true, right? Like, and I've watched other creators do this where like they've actually come out about it and talked about it like when they were starting. And although it is normal for a small percentage of people, right? It's just not something you want to continuously do because you can fall into that trap. Like, you start creating a sort of facade of a story and you start talking about like, oh, like, the haters, man, like, we're doing this for the haters. It's like, bro, like, you've never had haters. Like, I don't know why you're creating this like stupid story. Okay. So just don't be disingenuine, be authentic, and talk about your come up, your story, your life experiences, things like that. Cause that's what's actually going to resonate with your audience members, mainly because you can speak from it wholeheartedly. All right. You're not trying to put on a facade or a show, right? So you need to learn how to communicate verbally and physically, okay? There's two ways of communicating, right? It's obviously through your speech and then through your body language. You've probably seen in this video alone, like, I mean, it's kind of a stereotype, but us Italians, we talk with our hands. That's kind of what I do, you know what I mean? So you need to learn how to communicate verbally, but also physically, all right? So communication gives context. The way that you say things and the way that your body language is positioned can share a different message, all right? If you start recording some of your sales calls as well too, don't just like identify what you're saying to that prospect. Identify like how you're communicating, how physically, how are you positioned? Are you using your hands? Are you, moving around when you talk about certain aspects of your service delivery? Like, just analyze that, because there's two different kinds of ways that you can communicate, right? But again, applying this to content creation and storytelling, There's two different ways of communicating. All right. So the next thing is obviously study the greats. Study the people who, who have built the most fantastic movies, right? People like Christopher Nolan or George Lucas, all these different things, right? Study how their movies are put together. How do characters evolve? How do characters get introduced? How do characters solve problems and provide solutions? And all these different things. Like, genuinely, if you analyze a lot of like really high end production value movies, you'll start to learn how storytelling really works, right? So the best storytellers tell stories by studying other great storytellers. All right. You just got to study other great storytellers. And this could be through, consuming, short form content, long form content, or even things like movies, like I mentioned. Right. So you're going to start somewhere. You're probably going to suck at the start. I sucked at the start. I'm still getting better. I still think I am nowhere close to being a good storyteller, especially on YouTube. It's still something I'm really working on, but this is what I'm focused on. This is what I am constantly doing every single day, is I'm just focusing on, being 1% better every single day. All right. And the biggest thing is, for all of you watching this right now, like, the sooner you start, the better off you'll be. A lot of people put this off because they're either they're like, oh, like, I don't need to be creating content, or I don't need to be learning how to storytell quite yet, all these things. But the fact is you want to get good at storytelling now, and you want to share your experiences and your come up and what's going on in your life right now, because it's not a matter of if you're going to succeed, it's a matter of when. And when you do succeed, you are going to wish that you created content 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 even years ago, right? Like, you want to have that content there so that you can point back to it, so that when you have a big audience, when you have people coming up to you in the street or in the gym or on vacation, they're like, hey, you're so-and-so, like, I watch your content. Like, where did you start? Where did you begin? Like, how did you come up, right? Like, you can point back to those videos you made, years ago. And it's just a huge, it's a huge sign that, like, you've actually been putting in the work. You didn't care about what other people thought, and you're just, sharing your experience or sharing your story, right? So you're going to wish you started earlier. So the best thing to do is just by starting now. You're going to suck, and that's okay. You almost want your videos to kind of suck, because then years down the road, when you're crushing it and you're like, man, like, our videos are actually like awesome and they're resonating, and we got like a production team behind it. I got an editor, I got a scripter, all of this stuff. Like, you're just going to be so happy that you have those crappy videos that you made in the past. All right. So what is the purpose of storytelling, and how can it benefit you? All right. So think about why the most highly respected people draw so much attention. All right. They have done an amazing job of delivering some sort of result and have captivated their audience with their story. All right. So I look up to people like, Conor McGregor, right? So Conor McGregor, he was a journeyman electrician in Ireland not even 8 years ago, and is now worth, over $1 billion, because he had a dream of becoming a UFC champion. All right. That was his initial dream, right? Fast forward to today, he owns, sorry, that's not supposed to say owns. He owns multiple companies, invests in multiple companies, and is a multiple weight class champion, and has tons of other monuments of, the world of sports to uphold. All right. So that's just one guy. Like, Conor McGregor was just a normal guy 8 years ago. No one really knew who he was. Now he's a billionaire and he is crushing it at life, right? And you can do this for anyone. Like, look at, you can look at, A-list celebrities. You can look at your favorite YouTubers. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Like, I look at myself sometimes and I'm like, I was working 2 jobs doing, not a whole lot. I was making okay money as an employee, but like, I wasn't really doing much, right? Like, I struggled a lot with like my self-esteem, my confidence. I wasn't really the most confident person at the time, because a lot of my friends, they were smart, intelligent, all in university, playing university sports. I was working at my dad's company as like the jack of all trades there. I was bartending on the weekends, and then they would come out on the weekends. They would see me and they'd be partying. I'd be working. It sucked, like 2 years of my life, it did suck, but it was necessary, right? So everyone has a come up story, and you need to share that come up story. That's the most important part, right? So storytelling will give you the ultimate competitive advantage when it comes to dominating your industry, all right? Again, look at the greats. Look at the greats who've done such a great job of this, right? If your industry knows you for a specific reason that captivates their attention in a positive way, this will keep you top of mind. And I'd even go as far as saying, even in a slightly negative way, depending on what industry you're in. Like, let's just say in boxing, for instance, like, it pays to be the villain. You know what I mean? But in business, you don't, I wouldn't say you necessarily want to aim to be the villain 100% of the time, but, create some controversial content, do what you got to do, but don't make it your goal for people to hate you. That's not a good thing in business. All right. So yeah, now, I still have prospects book calls from TikToks that I made from years ago. This is absolutely true. I've made TikToks that have gotten, 1 million views, hundreds of thousands of views, all around the topics of e-commerce, local business, lead generation, running agencies, all these different things. Like from like months and years ago, and I still get people seeing these videos and booking in calls or messaging me wanting to get help, wanting to get support. Okay, so don't undermine the value of creating content right now. All right, and learning how to tell a story. All right. So let's talk about your empire. All right. So if you commit the next 2 to 3 years of sharing your story, I can guarantee you that you'll build an audience of captivated members who support you and cheer you on. I guarantee you, right? Again, look at all the greats, look at all the people on YouTube, right? They all have this amazing audience. All right. The audience that you create will act as social proof for future clients who come across your brand and hear your messaging that resonates with them on what they need for business. Okay. Now, there's also other huge opportunities as well too to monetize, right? Affiliate marketing being one of them. As you grow an audience, you can begin promoting the exact softwares that you already use that have added value to you as a business owner, whether it's to your agency or to other endeavors that you go about, right? And you can begin to just share those softwares and those services with other people that look up to you, right? And you can collect an affiliate bonus from those, right? I literally know people. I know people that make insane money from affiliate marketing with like platforms like Go High Level or Monday.com. Like it's insane. Even ClickFunnels, for instance. So a lot of huge opportunity here. All right. So how you can begin storytelling. All right. So you need to create more vlog style content. So day in the life content, exciting experiences, wins and losses, things like that. You need to create more natural content as if you were talking to one person. That's one thing that one of my mentors told me is like when you're creating content, you need to get good at speaking to just one person, because sometimes we get way too involved in the idea that we're speaking to like hundreds of thousands or millions of people. Just make content as if you were talking to one person. All right. Share more exciting experiences and share your wins and losses. This is actually really important. A lot of people only share their wins or the things that they're learning, stuff like that. Share your losses, right? The losses will actually resonate a lot more with your audience than the wins most of the time. All right. Create more natural content as if you're talking to one person. Already went through that. And just be more vulnerable in your content and share what others want. Okay. It's really simple. You'll get better at storytelling as you just, continuously do it, week after week, day by day, right? Obviously with short form platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts, you can create more content on a daily basis, right? With YouTube, obviously it's a little bit more production value because you're having to actually like sit down behind the computer or sit behind your camera and film a longer form video, but the more you do it, the better you'll get. All right. So just commit to starting today, and you're not going to have a huge audience at the start. It might take you a while to get grow an audience, but I'm telling you, if you start storytelling today, it's going to benefit you a lot in the future as well too. Okay. So hope you guys enjoyed this module. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right. Cheers.